Recording log entry 47B, standard cycle 3492. General Krilax speaking. May the ancestors forgive us for what we've done. I pause the recording, taking a moment to compose myself. My third eye throbs with stress as I gaze out the observation deck at the blue-green planet below. Such a deceptively beautiful world. Such a deadly mistake we made. Let me start from the beginning, before the High Command edits this disaster from our historical archives. The Vospian Empire has conquered 17 star systems without serious resistance. Our technological superiority has always been absolute. Our tactical protocols, flawless. Until Earth. We discovered their world during a routine resource expedition. Nothing special about the system, initially a mundane yellow star with 8 planets, only one harboring advanced life forms. We've seen thousands like it. Resume recording. Initial scans of the planet designated E3492 showed bipedal organisms with rudimentary space travel capabilities, primitive nuclear fission technology, combustion-based atmospheric vehicles, digital communications networks spanning their globe, assessment. Pre-spacefaring civilization, approximately 200 standard cycles from achieving practical interstellar travel. What the initial reports failed to emphasize was their adaptability, their creativity. While our species spent millennia perfecting singular technologies before moving to the next advancement, these humans developed thousands of competing solutions simultaneously. Their technological progression wasn't linear, it was exponential, chaotic, and wildly inefficient, yet somehow effective. The human civilization demonstrated remarkable resilience. They survived 5 near-extinction events in their recorded history. Their societies constantly fracture and reunite. They fight among themselves constantly, then ally against common threats with surprising solidarity. I submitted formal recommendation D882 to the Fleet Admiral suggesting observation protocols for minimum period of 30 cycles before any contact attempt. Admiral Merton. 14 successful conquest campaigns, thorough diplomatic failures. Until now. Fleet Admiral Merton rejected recommendation D882 with the following statement. The humans' disorganized social structure and technological immaturity present optimal conditions for immediate resource acquisition and potential subject species integration. In commencement of standard contact protocol authorized. End quote. I argued against it. I threw every regulation in the book at him. I even contacted Sub-Commander Lazari directly, bypassing 4 ranks of hierarchy, a punishable offense, to make my case. The humans were different. Something about their behavioral patterns concerned me. But Merton wouldn't hear it. First contact was initiated above their largest oceanic body to demonstrate force projection while minimizing potential cultural site damage. Standard intimidation formation Delta, with 5 warships. Shield generators at maximum visibility spectrum to ensure primitive sensors could detect our power signature. The human naval vessels approached cautiously. Their communications were surprisingly coherent, considering we'd only had hours to process their languages. They requested identification, purpose, and expressed openness to dialogue. All standard reactions. Then Merton, following our 1,000-year-old contact protocol, fired a demonstration shot. One precision beam, vaporizing an uninhabited island approximately 20 units from their fleet. Standard procedure, demonstrate superior firepower, then open negotiations from a position of strength. The humans didn't follow the script. The Earth vessels immediately dispersed into attack formation. Rather than retreating as expected, they advanced, firing primitive kinetic and explosive weapons at our ships. While these weapons were ineffective against our shields, their tactical response was unprecedented. I remember turning to Merton on the bridge, watching his facial ridges flush purple with rage. "They dare?" he hissed. "They dare attack the Vospian Empire?" Then the humans did something that shocked us all. They sacrificed 3 of their vessels in suicide maneuvers, detonating their power cores directly against our shield perimeters. The simultaneous explosions caused localized shield fluctuations. Not enough to breach, but enough to demonstrate they'd identified a potential weakness within minutes of engagement. Multiple human nations began launching atmospheric craft and orbital weapons platforms. Global military mobilization commenced at a pace our tactical computers initially flagged as simulation error. The speed of their unified response contradicted all pre-contact social analysis. Merton ordered a more substantial demonstration. The light cruiser Volmar targeted an uninhabited landmass, a desert, with our main energy array. The humans responded by launching their entire nuclear arsenal at our fleet. Again, their weapons were ineffective, but the sheer escalation was staggering. We underestimated them. Catastrophically. Merton, his pride wounded, ordered planetary bombardment of military targets. I countermanded his order the first time in my 200-cycle career I'd ever defied a direct command from a superior. The bridge fell silent. Merton's rage was terrible to behold. "Get your ship out of my formation, General," he snarled. "You'll face tribunal for this." Instead, I opened a direct channel to Vospian High Command, transmitting real-time battle data. The response was immediate: full retreat ordered. No bombardment, no further engagement. The Vospian fleet has retreated to the system's edge for strategic reassessment. 3 conclusions are now evident. First, standard contact protocols are wholly inadequate for the human species. Second, their capacity for unified response when threatened exceeds all known subject species parameters. Third, and most concerning, they are now aware of us, have witnessed our technology, and based on observed behavioral patterns, will be preparing for war. I shut off the recorder and stare at the distant blue planet. We came expecting an easy conquest. We are leaving with the first taste of fear our empire has known in a millennium. These humans, they don't respond to intimidation by cowering. They respond with fury, creativity, and a disturbing willingness to sacrifice. The High Command has finally heeded my warnings. But I fear it's too late. 3 Earth months. That's all it took for everything to change. I stand before the Vospian High Command, 13 ancient admirals whose combined military experience spans over 6,000 years. Their wrinkled faces and calcified facial ridges show nothing but contempt for my continued caution. "General Krilax, your assessment of the human threat continues to be alarmist," Grand Admiral Jorvac says, his voice dry as ancient parchment. "We have reviewed your reports extensively." The holographic display in the center of the chamber shows Earth, rotating slowly. Red markers indicate their military installations, orbital platforms, and fleet movements. There are significantly more than there were 3 months ago. With respect, Grand Admiral, if my assessment seems alarmist, it's because the situation is alarming. I gesture to the display. The humans have expanded their defensive capabilities at a rate that defies all predictive models. Science Director Piliana steps forward. She's young for her position, her scales still vibrant teal, rather than the faded blue of the admirals. Her appointment had caused whispers nepotism, favoritism, but I found her insights invaluable. The High Command recognizes Science Director Piliana, announces the protocol droid. "Honorable Admirals, my research team has been analyzing all available data on human psychology and social structures." Piliana begins, her voice steady despite the intimidating audience. "Our findings suggest that humans possess a unique neurological response to existential threats." She waves her hand, changing the display to show human brain scans alongside Vospian comparatives. When threatened, most species, including our own, follow predictable patterns: flight, submission, or calculated aggression. Humans exhibit something different. Their neural pathways reorganize. Their social structures consolidate. Most remarkably, their innovation rate increases exponentially under pressure. Admiral Zentex, the oldest member of the High Command, laughs a wheezing, whistling sound through his ceremonial breathing apparatus. You suggest these primitives become more intelligent when frightened. Preposterous. Not more intelligent, Admiral, Piliana corrects respectfully. More creative, more collaborative, more willing to take risks that would be considered irrational by our standards. They call it thinking outside the boxes, a reference to their tendency to abandon conventional approaches when standard methods fail. I interject. They've salvaged debris from our demonstration weapons. Our long-range scans show they're attempting to reverse engineer our technology. This causes murmuring among the admirals. Technological appropriation by primitive species is strictly forbidden under Galactic Concord statutes. Not because it's unfair, but because it's dangerous, like giving fusion technology to infants. Grand Admiral Jorvac silences the chamber with a raised hand. Even if these humans are attempting to understand our technology, the gap is too vast. Our scientific advancement represents 50,000 years of progress beyond their current state. The concept that they could meaningfully replicate any of our systems is absurd. With respect, Piliana begins, but is cut off. Enough. Admiral Zentek slams his ceremonial staff. We have indulged this paranoia long enough. The Vospian Empire does not cower before primitives who have barely left their own atmosphere. The human problem will be resolved with overwhelming force. The vote is swift and decisive, 12-1 in favor of immediate military action. Only Admiral Tarvik, the youngest among them, sides with our caution. As the chamber empties, Grand Admiral Jorvac approaches me privately. General Krilax, despite your unusual perspectives, your tactical record is exceptional. You will lead a reconnaissance mission to gather final intelligence before we launch the main assault. I bow my head in acknowledgement, knowing protest is futile. When do we depart? Immediately. Maintain orbit behind their lunar body. Passive sensors only. My reconnaissance fleet consists of 5 stealth scouts, our most advanced vessels, virtually undetectable by known technology. We've been observing Earth for 48 hours, and what we're seeing is impossible. Science Officer Nellar confirmed these readings, I order, staring at the display. Nellar, a brilliant if overly formal analyst, reviews the data. Confirmed, General. The humans have established 6 new orbital platforms of unprecedented design. Energy signatures suggest partial integration of Vospian shield technology. That's impossible. The debris they salvaged couldn't possibly contain intact shield generators. They didn't salvage generators, sir, Nellar explains. Based on emissions patterns, they've reinvented them. Crude approximations, but functional. They studied the energy signatures from our demonstration and worked backward. I feel my third eye pulsing with stress. In 3 months? That's not all, sir. Nellar hesitates. Their communications satellites have been modified. They're now emitting directed scanning pulses on frequencies similar to our own sensor systems. Before I can respond, alarms blare throughout the bridge. General, we're being pinged with active scans matching our own frequency patterns. The tactical officer shouts, they've detected us. Impossible, I hiss. But the evidence is undeniable. Somehow they've adapted their technology to locate our stealth vessels. Multiple launch signatures from Earth. Intercept trajectories calculated, they're targeting all 5 ships. I watch in stunned disbelief as primitive-looking but obviously modified human vessels accelerate toward us at speeds their technology shouldn't be capable of achieving. Their weapons aren't Vospian, they're some kind of hybrid, unmistakably human in design, but incorporating principles they couldn't possibly understand yet. Evasive maneuvers. Emergency jump coordinates. 2 scout ships explode before they can react. A third is crippled, its engines failing as strange, mechanical drones attached to its hull like parasites. Sir, we've lost contact with the Nelvar. Only our ship remains functional. As we accelerate away from the Earth-Moon system, I watch the sensor readings in horror. The humans aren't just defending, they're salvaging, learning, adapting. Set course for the fleet rendezvous point, I order, my voice hollow with the weight of realization, and prepare a full briefing package for high command. Neller looks at me, fear evident in all three of his eyes. Will they listen this time, General? I stare at the receding image of Earth on our view screen. Made better. Because those humans aren't just copying our technology. Sir. They're improving it. War Journal, Admiral Merton commanding. 6th cycle, 8th rotation. The liberation of Earth begins today. I stand on the secondary bridge of the assault carrier Dominion, watching Merton's self-aggrandizing speech with growing dread. 6 Earth months have passed since first contact. 3 since my reconnaissance mission ended in disaster. My warnings were acknowledged but ultimately dismissed as excessive caution unbecoming of Vospian military tradition. And now we're back, with the largest battle fleet assembled in a century. 47 capital ships, over 300 support vessels, planet cracker weapons primed and ready. The primitives have had time to contemplate their defiance. Merton continues, his facial ridges extended in dominance display. Today they will understand the price of challenging the Vospian Empire. He doesn't use my name, but his eyes find me among his officers. The message is clear: watch and learn, doubter. All vessels, advance to attack formation Omega. Weapon systems online. Prepare for orbital bombardment sequence. The fleet moves with practiced precision, spreading into the familiar claw pattern that has broken the spirit of so many worlds before. I've witnessed this formation reduce civilizations to rubble. I've seen species with technology far more advanced than Earth surrender at the mere sight of it. But something feels wrong. Admiral, the sensor officer calls out, detecting unusual energy signatures across Earth's northern hemisphere. Merton dismisses the concern with a flick of his hand. Expected. They're primitive nuclear weapons, no doubt. Shields at maximum. Continue advance. The view screen shows Earth growing larger, beautiful and defiant. Sir, multiple launch signatures. Count exceeding this can't be right, 700 and climbing. Merton finally shows interest. Show me. The tactical display flickers to life, showing swarms of objects rising from Earth. Not missiles, ships. Small, agile vessels unlike anything we've seen in human hands before. Magnify, I order, stepping forward without permission. The image zooms in on the approaching craft. My third eye widens in shock. The design is unmistakably human crude, angular utilitarian, but the technology impossible. Those are Vospian shield generators, I whisper. And those weapon mounts. A blinding flash interrupts me as the first wave of human weapons impacts our forward vessels. Not the primitive nuclear warheads we expected, but directed energy weapons. Crude, unstable, and nowhere near our technological level, but recognizably based on Vospian principles. 3 of our lighter cruisers report shield failures. The destroyer lists to port, venting atmosphere. Impossible. Merton roars, return fire. Full spread. Our weapons fire in perfect synchronization, a wall of destructive energy that should vaporize the approaching human fleet. Many of their ships do explode, nearly half in the first volley alone. But they keep coming, and there are so many. Admiral, we're being hailed, the communications officer announces, surprise evident in his voice. The signal is it's using our own encryption protocols. Merton hesitates, then nods curtly. Put it through. The view screen shifts to show a human female. Dark complexion, close-cropped hair, eyes that burn with cold determination. She wears a uniform I don't recognize, black with silver trim, a stylized Earth emblem on the shoulder. "This is Captain Nora Blackwell of the Earth Defense Force," she says, her voice translated perfectly into Vospian. "You have entered Earth's sovereign space without authorization. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." Merton laughs, a harsh barking sound. "Your species has courage, human. But your technological mimicry is pathetic. Surrender now, and your world may survive as a protectorate." Blackwell's expression doesn't change. "We gave you the opportunity to leave peacefully 3 months ago. You declined. We've spent that time preparing. This is your final warning." Before Mertain can respond, the tactical display erupts with warnings. The human ships aren't just attacking, they're executing perfect flanking maneuvers, targeting weak points in our formation that should be known only to Vospian tactical experts. "Sir, energy surge from Earth's moon." The lunar surface cracks open, revealing what can only be described as a massive cannon. A weapon that wasn't there 3 months ago. Evasive maneuvers. I shout, but it's too late. The lunar cannon fires. Not at our ships, but at a point in space ahead of us. The vacuum itself seems to ripple and tear, forming a swirling distortion. "What is that?" Merton demands. I stare in horror at the readings. They've weaponized our jump drive technology. It's creating localized space-time disruptions. 3 of our capital ships are caught in the distortion field. They don't explode, they implode, crushed by forces their shields were never designed to repel. The battle descends into chaos. Human ships swarm around our larger vessels like insects, targeting engines, weapons arrays, and communication nodes with surgical precision. They're taking heavy losses, perhaps 7 of their ships for each of ours, but they have numbers we never anticipated. And they're learning as they fight, each attack more effective than the last. A massive explosion rocks the Dominion. The primary bridge is hit directly. Emergency force fields engage, but the damage is catastrophic. Admiral Merton is down. The comms crackle. Repeat. Admiral Merton is confirmed dead. Chain of command protocols activate automatically. My command codes unlock across the fleet's network. "This is General Krilax assuming emergency command," I broadcast. "All vessels, disengage and retreat to safe jump coordinates." The fleet begins to withdraw, but the humans pursue relentlessly. By the time we reach the heliopause, the edge of their solar system, we've lost 17 capital ships and over 100 support vessels. The worst defeat in Vospian history. As the remnants of our once proud fleet prepare for emergency jump, a final communication comes through. Captain Blackwell again, her uniform now torn and bloodied, but her resolve unchanged. "General Krilax," she says, somehow knowing I'm now in command. "I'm transmitting terms. They're non-negotiable. Earth and its solar system are sovereign territory. Any Vospian vessel that enters our space again will be destroyed without warning. We will not pursue you beyond our borders unless provoked. But if you ever return with hostile intent, we will not stop at defense." Her eyes narrow. "Next time we'll come for your worlds. Your choice, peace or extinction." The transmission ends. The terms appear on my screen. As I give the order to jump, I wonder if the Vospian Empire has ever truly known fear before this day. 1 standard year since our defeat. 365 Earth days of silence. 365 days of waiting for the humans to appear in our space with weapons we can no longer counter. My voice carries through the Grand Council chamber, a vast dome where the political, military, and scientific leadership of the Vospian Empire has gathered. My new admiral's insignia still feels strange against my chest scales, a promotion born of necessity rather than celebration. When half your senior military leadership dies in battle, advancement comes quickly. "Admiral Krilax, your report is disturbing." Premier Zalathon, the civilian head of our government, leans forward on his hovering platform. "You claim the humans have expanded their presence throughout their solar system?" I gesture to the holographic display dominating the chamber's center. Our long-range observation confirms mining operations on their asteroid belt, military installations on 3 planetary bodies, fusion-powered settlements on their red planet, all developed within 1 year. Science Director Peliana, now respected rather than dismissed, adds the technological acceleration continues to defy all predictive models. They've adapted principles from salvaged Vospian technology into entirely new applications. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Fear has become familiar to an empire that never knew it before. What of their weapons development? Asks Defense Minister Krilax, his ancient face creased with concern. I tap a control, changing the display to show intercepted communications and energy signatures. They've improved the effectiveness of their hybrid energy weapons by approximately 40%. The spatial distortion technology they used against us has been refined. Most concerning. I pause, knowing the impact of my next words. We detect experimental faster-than-light signatures. They are on the verge of developing their own jump drive capability. The chamber erupts in shouts and hisses of alarm. A primitive species achieving in 18 months what took our civilization nearly 2,000 years. Enough. Premier Zalathon's voice cuts through the chaos. The question before this council is clear. Do we launch another assault before these humans become an existential threat to the Empire, or do we sue for peace? Defense Minister Krilax pounds his ceremonial staff. We cannot allow this humiliation to stand. The Vospian Empire has never known defeat in 12,000 years. I propose we assemble our entire fleet, every combat-capable vessel in the 17 systems. We will crush these upstart primitives before they can threaten our homeworlds. Several military commanders voice agreement. Their pride demands vengeance. And if we fail again? I ask quietly. The chamber falls silent. Our first encounter with humans involved 5 ships and resulted in a tactical retreat. Our second encounter involved 347 ships and resulted in a devastating defeat. We lost 37% of our total military capacity. I meet each council member's gaze. Based on their rate of advancement, a third attempt with our entire fleet would not result in victory. It would result in extinction. Science Director Peliana steps forward. I have analyzed thousands of hours of human entertainment broadcasts, historical documents, and military communications. They have a concept they call backed into a corner. When humans perceive no option for retreat, they become capable of she hesitates. They become capable of anything. I take a deep breath. There is another option. One that goes against 12 millennia of Vospian tradition, but may secure our future nonetheless. Premier Zalathon's eyes narrow. Speak plainly, Admiral. I propose formal diplomatic recognition of Earth and its solar system as sovereign territory. Non-aggression pacts, perhaps even alliance. The uproar is immediate and fierce. Treason, they call it. Cowardice. Blasphemy against the eternal expansion doctrine that has guided our empire since its founding. The debate rages for hours. Ultimately, desperation outweighs tradition. By the narrowest margin in council history, 7 votes to 6, my proposal is accepted. 3 months later, I stand in the same chamber, but now the center platform accommodates not just Premier Zalathon but a delegation of 5 humans. Their leader, a silver-haired man with dark skin and sharp eyes, steps forward. Ambassador Thomas Rivera of Earth, the protocol droid announces. Chief Diplomatic Envoy of the United Earth Government. Rivera speaks through a translation device, though I notice he occasionally uses Vospian phrases. They've been studying our language. Premier Zalathon, honored council members, we come in peace, despite our troubled first contact, Rivera says. Humanity has voted to accept your proposal for formal recognition and non-aggression. Zalathon's relief is palpable. The Vospian Empire is pleased to welcome Earth representatives too. However, Rivera interrupts, causing gasps from those familiar with rigid Vospian protocol. We propose amendments to the agreement. My third eye twitches with concern. Here it comes: demands for reparations, technology transfers, territorial concessions. Earth proposes not merely peace, but partnership, Rivera continues. We offer a mutual defense pact against potential aggressors in this sector of the galaxy. We offer technological exchange or refined techniques for our innovative applications. He smiles, revealing blunt human teeth that nonetheless feel predatory. We've learned that our species think differently. Where you perfect, we innovate. Where you maintain, we disrupt. Together, we could become something greater than either civilization could achieve alone. I watch the council members' reactions shift from surprise to calculation to cautious interest. This is unprecedented in our history, an offer of alliance from a species we attempted to conquer. The negotiations last for days, but the outcome is clear from that first meeting. The Treaty of New Beginnings, they call it. The first voluntary alliance in Vospian history, rather than an imperial absorption. 2 years after first contact, I stand on the observation deck of the newly commissioned joint Vospian human research vessel cooperation, watching Earth grow smaller as we depart for a scientific mission to a nearby star system. Science Director Peliana joins me, her scales now bearing the ceremonial markings of the new Joint Scientific Council. You look contemplative, Admiral, she observes. I'm thinking about the nature of adaptation, I reply. We believed ourselves the apex of evolution, perfect and unchanging for millennia. We saw the humans' constant conflict and change as weakness. And instead, it was their strength, she finishes my thought. I nod. Their history is a series of existential threats overcome. Their fiction is filled with scenarios where they face extinction. They've been preparing for a moment like our arrival their entire cultural existence. Piliana makes a gesture of philosophical acknowledgement. The irony is stunning. The Vospian Empire has been stagnating for centuries. Our technological development plateaued. Our social structures calcified. Our military doctrine remained unchanged for millennia. And then we encountered a species with the will to survive at any cost, I say quietly. A species that transforms when threatened rather than breaking. I watch the stars through the viewport, thinking about the joint military exercises scheduled next month, the human exchange students already adapting to life on Vospian worlds, the hybrid technologies our engineers are developing together. Perhaps the greatest irony, I say with a laugh that would have been unthinkable for a Vospian admiral 3 years ago, is that by challenging humanity's will, we may have saved the Vospian Empire from itself. Piliana's 3 eyes blink in the pattern of amused agreement. They have a saying I've grown fond of: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Indeed, I reply, watching Earth vanish to a blue dot among countless stars. And we very nearly killed them. Or they us, she adds. The distinction, I observe, seems less important with each passing day.